The next stage of their journey is given in both Exodus and Numbers, which seem to contradict each other. Exodus says, "And they came to Elim, and they encamped there by the waters. And they took their journey from Elim, and came unto the wilderness of Sin." While in Numbers we read that they left Elim and encamped by the Red Sea, and from the Red Sea encamped in the wilderness of Sin. This seeming contradiction is easily explained now that the site has been located. For 3 days they had wandered through the mountainous region south of the crossing site. These mountains extend to the sea, making travel along the coast impossible. Then they came to Elim, located at the south end of these mountains. After drawing their water, the Israelites set up camp. Because of the great number of people and animals, they filled the wadi from Elim westward to the nearby Red Sea shore. The wilderness of Sin between Elim and Sinai is a large barren plain nestled between the mountains along the sea and the mountain range which contains Mount Sinai. Southeast of Elim is Al-Bad, the largest oasis in the region and the home of Moses' father-in-law, Jethro. Down through the ages until this very day, local traditions abound about Jethro and Moses in Al-Bad. It was in this wilderness of Sin that the multitude again murmured against Moses and Aaron for bringing them into this barren desert to die of hunger. And it was here that the Lord first gave them manna, which appeared every day except for the Sabbath. In the south portion of the plain, they retained some protection against the attack of the fierce Amalek, because the mountains along the sea and the longest arm of the Jabal Allah's range extend toward one another, forming a limited barrier to the north. But when they journeyed through the mountain pass, they were fully exposed. And here the cloud turned and led them east into the foothills on the western side of the great mountain range. Here they had limited protection within the hilly region. Exodus 17:1, "And all the congregation of the children of Israel journeyed from the wilderness of Sin after their journeys, according to the commandment of the Lord, and pitched in Rephidim, and there was no water for the people to drink." And once again the people became greatly upset with Moses. "And Moses cried unto the Lord, saying, What shall I do unto this people? They be almost ready to stone me. And the Lord said unto Moses, Go on before the people, and take with thee of the elders of Israel, and thy rod wherewith thou smotest the river. Take in thy hand, and go. Behold, I will stand before thee there upon the rock in Horeb, and thou shalt smite the rock, and there shall come water out of it, that the people may drink. And Moses did so in the sight of the elders of Israel." Visible for many miles around, this large rock, about 6 stories in height, stands atop this hill over 100 feet above the plain. With the elders looking on, Moses climbed atop the rocky hill to the standing boulder and struck it with his staff. From within the wall of the crack, large streams of water flowed out into the plain. The channel as this water cut into the rock is still visible between the large crack, and the direction of the water flow can be seen in the channels cut into the earth. The rock of the hill upon which the boulder still sits displays signs of water erosion. Then came Amalek and fought with Israel in Rephidim. Since the multitude was hidden only in the foothills as they traveled to Rephidim, the Amalek may have seen the cloudy pillar by day and fire by night, which may not have been visible while they traveled through the mountainous region. In Deuteronomy 25:18, Moses recounts the attack and how the Amalek, quote, "met thee by the way, and smote the hindmost of thee, all that were feeble behind thee, when thou wast faint and weary." Though a surprise attack from the rear, their position seemed to have afforded them some strategic advantage, for they were able to organize an army and go to battle the next day, armed with the weapons of the drowned Egyptians. And Moses said unto Joshua, "Choose us out men, and go out, fight with the Amalek tomorrow. I will stand on the top of the hill with the rod of God in mine hand." And it came to pass when Moses held up his hand that Israel prevailed, and when he let down his hand, Amalek prevailed. But Moses' hands were heavy, and they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat thereon. And Aaron and Hur stayed up his hands, the one on the one side, and the other on the other side. And his hands were steady until the going down of the sun. And Joshua discomfited Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword. After the battle, Moses built an altar to the Lord just a few hundred yards from the rock which brought forth the streams of water, and he called the name of it Jehovah Nissi. Rephidim means plains, and the flat land amid the foothills of the mountain range consists of thousands of acres, more than enough room for the great multitude to have camped, and for a great battle to have taken place. They had entered this wilderness of sin exactly 1 month after they had left Egypt, and would reach the encampment at Mount Sinai exactly 2 months after leaving Egypt. This indicates that they spent possibly up to 3 weeks here, and the area is abundant with evidences of their stay. These plains are littered with the remnants of ancient structures such as these round hut circles. Though no one knows their exact function, it appears that a large center stone held up a tent, while smaller stones were placed along the edge of the tent to secure it. This would provide protection for a sleeping family from any wild animals as well as from their own flocks. After the Amalek attack, Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, came with his sons and his wife unto Moses in the wilderness, where he encamped at the mountain of God. Rephidim is located on the western side of the great mountain range the Bedouins still call Jebel Musa. The split rock from which the water came forth was called the rock at Horeb. They were at the holy mountain, but they were on the western side. Their next encampment would be on the eastern side. Exodus 19:1. In the 3rd month, when the children of Israel were gone forth out of the land of Egypt, the same day came they into the wilderness of Sinai, for they were departed from Rephidim, and were come to the desert of Sinai, and had pitched in the wilderness. And there Israel camped before the mount. From Rephidim they continued their journey around the mountain range, first going north, then circling around to the east and south. As they entered the foothills on the eastern side, the rocky cliffs rose hundreds of feet on either side. Sandstone mountains were soon replaced by towering granite cliffs which rose to greater heights around them. Finally, they entered a massive plain surrounded by granite walls, which can be seen in this satellite photo. The cloud which was leading them stopped, and they gazed upon the lofty peak of Mount Sinai. Here was to be their home for almost a year. This was not an arbitrary stop along the route to Canaan. The people had nearly lost all true knowledge of God while under the influence of heathen Egypt. Had God not intervened, all knowledge may have been lost. When called by God to lead the people out of Egypt, Moses had asked, "When I shall come unto the children of Israel, and shall say unto them, The God of your fathers hath sent me unto you, and they shall say to me, What is his name? What shall I say unto them?" The voice from the midst of the fire replied, "I am that I am." And he said, "Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I am, hath sent me unto you." Almost 1,500 years later, Christ would say to the Jews, "Verily, verily, I say unto you, before Abraham was, I am." I am was the voice in the burning bush. The knowledge of a coming Redeemer was known from the time Adam fell and the blood sacrifices were instituted which pointed to his death. Abraham knew and understood what had to occur. As Christ later said to the Jews, John 8:56, "Your father Abraham rejoiced to see my day, and he saw it and was glad." The events of the Exodus were part of the plan that had been decided in heaven, the plan of salvation for downfallen man. And at the mountain, more details of that plan were about to emerge. God was personally intervening to prepare the people who were given the privilege of taking the knowledge of Him to the world. As soon as they arrived, God spoke to Moses. Exodus 19:10. Go unto the people and sanctify them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their clothes, and be ready against the third day. For the third day the Lord will come down in the sight of all the people upon Mount Sinai.